Something really surprising happened to me while I was watching this movie. Two people actually walked out. I was surprised because I hadn't seen that in a while. What really caught me off guard was when we were watching The Wolf of Wall Street. Let's start off with why these people would leave this movie. I think I can understand why. It is a sexually graphic movie. It is polluted with profanity. It is laced with some hardcore drug abuse. But you know what? I don't think any of that is the reason why these people left this movie. It's going to take me a little bit to explain here. I'm going to use 4 factors. So let's start off with the acting. Jonah Hill and his wife, played by Margot Robbie, I think, did a terrific job in supplementing Leonardo DiCaprio. And I'm not even going to mention Matthew McConaughey in this one because he only shows up for a very short time, so don't expect too much from him. But to get back to DiCaprio, you do get to see a lot of him. And I do mean a lot of him. Especially from the backside. He does do a really fine job with this role. There are some scenes where he just grips you with his performance. He's able to capitalize on this ability that, yes, you believe it, he can sell you some magic beans. And yeah, there are times where he goes way over the top, but I don't fault him for that. I fault the director. What's that? I criticized Martin Scorsese? Yes, I did. Now, I know some of you are just going to be giving me automatic thumbs down based on principle, but let me finish here. A while back, the studio wanted Scorsese to cut this movie down from 3 hours to 2. But, he took a full 3 hours to tell this story of Jordan Belfort, how he built up his fortune, and eventually his downfall. It is a concept that we're very familiar with. This is not new ground we're on here. This is very much like a Scarface. It almost hits the exact same notes. But it's told beautifully. The cinematography is on point. It's creative. But where the movie struggled for me was in the pacing and was in the storytelling. And I really feel like that falls back on the director. Let me explain here a little bit. In the third act, there's a sequence, where DiCaprio and Jonah Hill have another drug trip. We know that they're drug addicts, we know they're rich, and we know that his marriage is falling apart. But they take this time to have this sequence where he goes to a country club and then he tries to drive home. And we've gone through this stuff in the first hour. We've gone through this stuff in the second hour. So when we're going through it again in the third hour, it feels like we're just being bogged down by this. We're being hit over the head again and again, and it's just being recycled perhaps one too many times. Because it really brings nothing new to the table. Let's go back to the people that walked out of this movie. They did so around the 2-hour mark, and it brought up 2 points that I want to talk about. Number 1, women, ladies. They don't get portrayed in this movie in the best of lights. They are treated like objects. They get discarded like tissue paper. I understand that that's supposed to be part of the story, part of the message, but I can totally see why someone would get offended by it because they just beat you over the head with it for the first half of this movie. The second part of this is that I had this problem with another movie that recently came out called American Hustle. And my problem is that it tells the story of bad people doing bad things. There's nobody to root for, really, in these movies. And that's not necessarily a bad thing. There are movies out there of bad people doing bad things that I like The Godfather, Pulp Fiction, and not to mention There Will Be Blood, starring Daniel Day-Lewis, which is a masterpiece. I guess that sums up how I feel about this movie, because The Wolf of Wall Street is not on par with those movies. The thing about Wolf of Wall Street is that you're following a bad man, and such a bad man, that he doesn't care about anybody he is around. He's just so consumed with greed and money that it was that kind of grotesqueness, that corruption, that it was so shoved in your face all the time. It is offensive. And that's why I think that those people walked out of this movie. But for me, I enjoyed parts of it. It's probably not going to end up on my top 10 best movies of the year because, as I said, at least in movies like Pulp Fiction, there's somebody that you're rooting for. There's even a bad character that, is remorseful. In this one, there is no hero. I guess the hero of the movie is the FBI agent, but they don't even portray him in the best of light. And this story is something, as I said, we've all seen this kind of stuff before. So overall, if you're a student of acting, if you're a student of movie making, you will get something out of this movie. The casual movie fan may like it just for the spoils of being rich, but I hope not, because there is the message there of corruption, but I don't want to get into any big, huge political statements. So, that being said, I give this movie a score 6 out of 10. What's that? I just gave a score to a movie? Yes, I did. That's something coming in the new year. So, if you've liked what you've seen, please hit that thumbs up button and subscribe. Ladies and gentlemen, every now and then I screw up at recording these reviews. I had recorded a good 25 minutes of footage. Unfortunately, it was during the day and you could see a huge glare in my glasses. But I'm better prepared this time around, so hopefully the cuts will look a little bit smoother.